Hello, and welcome to Learn Digital Art with me, Neelofar. Today we'll be learning to illustrate this little bird amongst some beautiful flowers. We'll only be needing brushes from 3 folders today, but there'll be a slight more need for a technique here. So let's begin. I'm going to start off with my trustworthy studio pen, and I'm going to make the outline for our bird. I'll be filling him in with a mustard colour. I'm also going to be highlighting and outlining the feathers at the bottom, and after that I'm going to change our colour to a light green olive and highlight where his wings will be, and that's very rough. I'm just going to fill that out too. What I want to do is make his wing a bit more thinner from the back. So I've just done that, and now I'm coming down to the feathers. I'm going to highlight them with this light green colour and then fill them in. What I want to do is to introduce a black colour just to distinguish between each of our feathers, because I'm going to, and as you probably guessed it, I'm going to be using a feathering technique, and for that what I wish to have is a darker colour at the bottom. I've spoken about this before too. The darker colour at the bottom just elevates the lighter colour at the top when I use the fine hairbrush from our materials folder. Just want to add that you can use the fine hairbrush or the short hair brush also to create the feathers. Now let's go and create our little birdie's belly. I'm going to go for a little light brown colour, and now I'm going to go into a darker colour and create his little beak. That's just simply a triangle shape at the top. I wanted to close his eyes, but I thought it'd be nice for him to be looking, because at the end of the day he will be holding a little flower in his beak. So I'm just going to create a brown circle and going to reduce the opacity on the left hand side. Take a light colour like white and then just draw in some round circles to show the light touching his pupils. I'm now going to create the feathers. So this will be created with a variety of different shades. I'm going to go for a yellow and a mustard and go back and forth with them. You don't necessarily need to use the same or similar colours to the base of your image. It could be different colours, like you could have a yellow base and then use a bit of blue in it. I also think it's quite nice that if you don't want to use a short hair brush and you just want to go for something which doesn't have too much texture to it, then you can use the soft blend brush from the airbrushing folder and create an image that way. However, let's go back to our little birdie where we are using our short hair brush to create the wings, and so I'm using a darker shade hair, and now I've gone into the studio pen and I'm very lightly going to create some lines. I'm going to now focus on the bottom feathers and I'm just going in and out with the green colour and the black colour to create some texture there. I'm going to tidy up the edges of our bird, and I just want to give our little birdie a quiff at the top. I always find that really cute on little birdies or small baby animals. I'm going to go into soft blend brush and give him or her a little rosy cheek. I want to enhance some of the colours now, so what I want to do is just take the solid studio pen brush and go around the feathers, specifically the wings, and then what I wish to do is create or replicate feathers with the studio pen. And sometimes what I think this does is when you use different brushes to create one similar texture, it just makes the image or the illustration pop out more. I'm now going to create the tree bark that our little birdie is on, and there are specific brushes that allow you to create the texture of wood, but I like to have a little challenge sometimes and create it myself, and my key is just to have two brushes, one being the studio pen to create the base of the trunk itself, and then I'm just going to go into our soft blend brush in the airbrushing folder and reduce the nib size and use a couple of colours, like let's say grey, a brown, a light green, to replicate the bark, replicate any textures that you would find on an ordinary tree, and believe me, it does work. I'm going to now draw our flower. I feel like I want the shape to be like a full leaf clover. So I'm just going to use a nice deep rich rouge colour. I've now created the pattern of the leaves through using the eraser brush and the studio pen, and now I'm just going to use a soft blend brush in a lighter white colour and create the texture on top of the flower. I'm going to now create the anthers on the flower using the studio pen. I want to go into the selections button on the top left hand corner, and I'm going to pick the freehand button and I'm going to move one of the flowers around. I could also use the transform button, which is next to the selection button, and use the uniform button there and move our flowers around. So they're just two techniques for how you can replicate the flower. Now I think that we need some leaves, and I'm going to use a lilac colour to create them. Amongst creating these leaves, I've also decided to create the little feet of our birdie. I'm doing this because we're just using the same pen, which is a studio pen, but we're just going to be changing the colour to a nice blue and white. I'm now going to use an aquamarine blue to continue creating leaves and patterns around my bird. I'm doing these two patterns you'll see, and what I wish to do is make them smaller and move them across. I'll simply do by selecting the transform button on the top left hand toolbar, and I'm just going to select uniform and move them around to where I think they look good. I'm going to continue creating more leaves, and I'm going to introduce some variety of different hearts also. I've opted for a light yellow background now. I based this illustration on a Draw This in Your Style challenge by the wonderful Maria. And if you check my Instagram post, you'll know that the original illustration that she created for all her followers had a little flower on the top of her bird. What I'm going to do is replicate that flower using the studio pen brush from our painting folder, but I'm going to put that flower within the beak of my bird. By using the soft blend brush or any brushes in the airbrush 1 folder, you can create some texture and some shadows with a light white colour. That's what I've done with this little flower in the bird's beak. I'm going to use the same colour to create the anthers on the little flower. And I want to just make a few changes, so I want to add a couple more of the flowers to just around the bird itself, so I'm going to use the copy and paste technique, reduce the size of the flower and place them around the page. I've got one on the side here, another one going on the right hand side, and oh, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.